Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see all of you here, and I'm really happy to see so many people here in 2019 because hype is gone. Blockchain is just like a technology right now. There's no opportunity to raise millions of dollars just for a few days. And now we'll talk about technology, and we'll talk mostly about use cases. My name is Inal Kardanov, and I'm a developer advocate at Waves platform. Waves is one of the biggest blockchain platforms, and we have a lot of users, a lot of transactions, a lot of developers in our ecosystem. And today I'd like to talk about games. I'd like to talk about the revolution in games. And we look to this situation in game and industry from different angles. We have different point of view because we're a blockchain platform mostly. We are not game developers. So let's start. Let's start from the beginning. First of all, we are a blockchain platform, as I already said, and we try to find use cases. We try to find proof of concepts in different industries. And for example, there is a huge company called Walmart. Have you ever heard about Walmart? I think yes. And they have a proof of concept for blockchain as a technology, of course. They try to use blockchain in delivery tracking. Yeah, Walmart, their revenue is more than $500 billion per year. And this is just like, they have proof of concept, blockchain proof of concept, let's call it so. And another company, Maersk, for example, it's a logistics company. They ship every year more than 4 million containers, and it's a huge company also. And they try to use blockchain. They have proof of concept, blockchain proof of concept in insurance. And in games also, we have example. We have proof of concept. Tencent Games. Tencent is one of the biggest Chinese companies, IT companies, and their games department, they have games department, and they make games. They have more than 200 million players, and they try to use blockchain. They have some proof of concept, but I have one question. What about tokenization? Where are examples of tokenization in games from big titles, from big companies, not like from indie developers, from big companies? Where are examples? We really tried to find, we really tried to work to collaborate, but we can't find that huge titles. Despite that we are really big, we are not like small blockchain, we are really big, but we can't find that partners to work with. Why? Why we can't? What's the problem right now? Why we can't find any examples of tokenization? Let's try to understand the reason. Let's start from the beginning. There are three main actors in gaming industry. First actor is like content creators. Let's call it developers, game developers. Second actors, like let's go to that side. I think content distributors. Sorry. It's like platforms. And third part is like players. They just like consume games. I think you agree that there are three main actors, right? Okay. Let's go forward. What about current status quo for each of these actors? Okay, game developers. Right now, every single player, they pay for item, but they don't own that item. So game developers get a lot of money from players, but players, what players will get? Nothing. What about time? They spend a lot of time. They spend significant amount of time. There are a lot of people who play every single day, and they own nothing. They really own nothing. And I think we have to admit, something goes wrong. I think we have to admit that EULAs are the feudal law of modern times. Just think about it about a few seconds. Usually, in real life, when we pay for something, it belongs to us, right? When we work on something, at least we get money for it. At least. sometimes we get some real-world things and we can touch it, okay? Maybe we get digital assets. But in games, we get nothing. We just spent our time and we spent our money. Okay, let's go to second actors. Let's call them platforms. I think that they're really happy with current situation. They should be happy. They get usually about 30% of sales, 30% commission on sales usually. And if you're a game developer, you just don't have a choice. You have to go to some platform to find your players, let's call it so. And you will pay up to 30%, usually 30%. And they do almost nothing, I can say, because they just help you to add to their marketplace, and that's it, usually. And they'll take third. I think they're really happy, yeah. And that's why I think they usually ban blockchain-related games and products. They are not interested in changing this situation, this status quo. And I have to say one thing, that this is already changing. Thanks to Epic Games, they have a marketplace, and their commission is twice less, as far as I remember, than 30%. It's just like changing. Yeah, but it's changing too slow, I think. Let's go to the third part, players. I think players I'm sure that players want to own the assets. It's just like common sense. If you work on something, you should get it, right? You should get money, you should get digital assets, you should get something related to your work, to your money, to your time. But they do not get it, usually. They want to able to earn by playing. Usually, players spend a lot of time, right? But they want to not just like useless, spend their time useless. They want to earn by it, they want to invest their time. But usually they get nothing. For example, game developer at any time just can take back the asset in game. At any time, in all EULAs that we tried to read, there is a rule that at any time game developer can do everything with assets. Not your assets, it's game developer's assets. And that's why he can do everything. And players really want transparency. I think there are a lot of problems with loot boxes right now, because they're not transparent at all. But for example, smart contracts and blockchain can make it more transparent, can make it more trustless, but the players usually don't get it. So, there is one problem, that players usually do not know that this model exists. By this model, I mean that they can own asset, they can earn something by playing. They usually just do not know that these models exist. So, the main idea of my today's talk is that to start the revolution, we need one successful game from big title. We need only one very successful example of modern models, let's call it so. And that's why blockchain platforms, including Waves, have investment and grant programs to support game developers. Not because, I don't know, blockchain platforms ran ICO and we earned a lot of money and we just don't have any ideas how to spend them, and we, I don't know, let's pay to game developers. No. We have grants and we have investments to games because we see that blockchain can change the whole industry. And usually blockchain platforms, especially, we try to help to game developers, not only with money, not only with funding. We usually, and we every time, we try to help with tools also. We try to give tools to work with blockchain in your games. So let's talk a little bit about, for example, in Waves. Let's start from the beginning. The previous talk was about blockchains and how you can use, how you can integrate, some barriers, why it's hard to use, and let's try to understand what we can do. For example, in our blockchain, we have a very, very cool tool to issue a token. You can just like tokenize everything. You just can issue a token with really three clicks. I think it's not a barrier at all for developers, just like 3 clicks and you have a token. We also have a games SDK to integrate blockchain, let's call it so, into a game. We have DEX, it's a decentralized exchange. It's some kind of marketplace where you can sell your items or you can buy items from different games. So we have, we have tools for tokenization. We also have fiat gateways, so you can buy the assets not just like with Bitcoin, blockchain, etc. You can buy it with dollars, US dollars, for example. And smart contracts, as I already said, is necessary to make it more transparent, and we also have it. For game developers, there are taxation possibilities. You can make taxation, you can make taxes when users try to trade with each other with some digital assets. You can just like take taxes from that transactions. So I'm trying to talk about one important thing. Now blockchains are ready. We need only one successful example of game. And to run this revolution, we have all weapons, we have all tools. We just have to do it, I think. Yeah, usually when we talk about tokenization, there are different blockchains. And in different blockchains, you have to write a smart contract. But what's special about Waves? In Waves, you should not write a smart contract to issue a token. You just really 3 clicks and you have a token. And if you want to write a smart contract, if you want to change the behavior, of course you can change the behavior of your token, but you can avoid writing code. And it's also really cheap. It's also really low cost because for now, one transaction in Waves blockchain costs less than 1 cent, as far as I remember. Yeah, less than 1 cent. So we have blockchain. We have also tools like DEX, as I already said, when you can instantly trade, instantly sell your items. There are gateways for different cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Zcash, Monero. There are a lot of them, and in our ecosystem. And there are fiat gateways. Also, we have tools like APIs. For example, let's just try to wrap up, just like understand what's going on. For example, we have a blockchain, we have an API for that blockchain. We have a DEX, decentralized exchange, we have an API for that. We have SDK, you just can take it and integrate blockchain into your game. It allows you to create item, change item supply, set item for sale. You can just make a game without backend at all because blockchain is your backend. And we have tools like MetaMask, like we call it Waves Keeper. And I want to say one thing about these tools. MetaMask is hard, really. For end users, it's a pain to use a MetaMask usually, because you have to sign each transaction. How blockchains work? To make a transaction, you have to sign that transaction with your public key, right? It's not a good idea to ask a public key from user. So we have tools like MetaMask, Waves Keeper, where you can save your private key, just like your game asks permission to make a transaction, you sign it, and it goes to the blockchain. But now, these tools, they're changing. How? For example, in our Waves Keeper, we have few games in our ecosystem, and they came to us and say, hey guys, we need some kind of permissions for users, where user can click one button and allow, I don't know, 10 transactions, for example. And we're working on it right now. And I think that all tools, including MetaMask, including Waves Keeper, they will change. They will change to make user experience, gamer experience, let's call it so, smoother, make it better. So I think in, I don't know, few months, we will have everything, really everything for tokenization. The only thing we need, just like big title. Yeah, and Mobile Keeper is on the way in our ecosystem. You can do it not like only on desktop, on your web browser. You can also sign a transaction on your mobile. And if there are any game developers, you can join our grant program. I think you can go to this website, games.websplatform.com, and you can find there a lot of interesting things. You can join our grant program. Yeah, it should be interesting. And at the end, I'd like to ask you one thing. Can you imagine, for example, a few centuries ago, people, they have never heard that, I don't know, feudal law for them was really okay. It was okay, we live like this, okay, why not? We do not know anything about another morals of society. Right now, in gaming industry, we see it like absolutely similar. Gamers, they're like, okay, we will spend a lot of money, we'll spend a lot of time, and we'll get nothing. Why not? Okay. But somebody will show them that we can improve this whole industry. We can disrupt this whole industry, and let's just do it. I hope I'm not sounding like Lenin or somebody else. I'm from Russia, and I do not want to look like Lenin. But I think that blockchain will fuel this revolution in games industry, and I hope somebody in this room would like to be the next chair. So thank you.